Let's go to line number 2 and say good morning to one of the gentlemen who has intervener status at the PUB. Review of Blackout 2014 and plans for the reliability of the system post Muskrat Falls. Also a gentleman who ran for the leadership of the Liberal Party, Danny Dumaresque. Good morning, Danny. You're on the air.
Hello, Paddy. Welcome back.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, I wanted to have an opportunity this morning. Yesterday I received an electronic copy of the report by Hydro late in the day. And this morning I got delivered about 1,500 pages of information. So, lots of material to peruse as we prepare for the interim report and the public hearings to come. But certainly, after reading this report and listening to your interview this morning with Mr. Martin, I have a major difference of opinion. If you read through these reports, there's really a story of mismanagement and terrible negligence, particularly when it comes to maintenance and asset readiness. For example, it's just unbelievable that a Crown corporation that has its sole business to provide power would not have its generating units on full readiness, we have seen reports in the detail that I have where it certainly indicates that the Holyrood facility in particular has underperformed dramatically since 2013, and I don't believe there's any coincidence that these problems with the integrity of the system at Holyrood started after we switched fuel suppliers, and over 1 million barrels of fuel, dirty fuel, was put into the system. It has definitely compromised the system and has definitely caused the units to underperform. And there are also obviously major issues when you have the situation this past winter where Holyrood had to actually go and siphon fuel from one of the Coast Guard vessels in order to be able to keep the generators going. That's the kind of thing that certainly I think people look at and say, how can you be giving confidence to the system when you have such menial and elementary checklists obviously ignored or uncompleted when it comes to fuel. The same thing for spare parts. We had the fan motor go on number 3, losing 100 megawatts of power, but no spare fan motor. These are the types of things that I think will certainly be made more clear as we get into the PUB public hearings. And the other thing I want to acknowledge to the people, especially your last caller, is that the PUB has gone out to its own credit, I would point out, and hired the Liberty Consulting Group out of Pennsylvania. This firm has been quite active over the last number of years in 40 different states in the United States, and also have come to Alberta and Ontario and Nova Scotia, and now here to Newfoundland to study the impact of the major loss of power. And they certainly have a solid reputation of knowing what they're doing, and they take no prisoners in acknowledging whether proper maintenance was done, whether assets are ready, and whether prudent decisions were made, especially when you make such a major change in fuel supply.
Yeah, the fuel supply issue, you made your comments, Hydro responded to them, but so far as the events that led to Blackout 2014, when Mr. Martin describes them as a series of unrelated events, whether it be the generation deficit at Holyrood, fire at Sunnyside, and the consequential malfunction of breakers, the 230 kVs, do you accept the fact they're unrelated, Danny, or is this strictly simply in your mind a lack of planning and preventative maintenance being applied, even though the budget for maintenance has been increased drastically over the years?
Well, there's no question in my view that they are not all related, and to that point I think there is fair comment. Obviously, the dirty fuel didn't cause the transformer at Sunnyside to to blow up. Obviously, that's a situation that's very clear. But there's no question that the hydro fell down on the job in a major way with maintenance, and it's all centered around, to a large degree, it's centered around the Holyrood generating plant, and that's where I believe the fundamental failures of hydro will be found in that the proper maintenance was not done. The breakers that they're talking about now definitely should have been replaced at a much faster pace, and particularly 2013 and 2014 there was a problem with the same breaker, but why do we not have a new one there today? So, but we also have issues in Holyrood when it comes to the burners and the heaters and the strainers and the pumps and the motors. I mean, you just go right down through it. And yes, the budget for maintenance has been increased, but it's been increased basically from $4 million to about $8 million a year. And by no means was that enough to be able to put the Holyrood generating station, which is the fundamental core of power generation on this island for peak periods of demand. Let there be no doubt about it, that is the case. And therefore, when you have that piece of generation that's so critical to your reliability of supply, then every rock must be overturned to make sure that that asset is in a state of absolute readiness. The same thing with the other generating stations in Hardwoods and in Stephenville. I mean, this is unbelievable that they did not have fuel to keep them going. They had to go down and take it out of a Coast Guard vessel to be able to keep these units going. And that's the kind of thing that nobody can accept is responsible and active maintenance and management. And therefore, I certainly now am looking forward to the reply and the report of the Liberty Consulting Group, because they are going to go and look at all of the records. They're going to look at the work orders, what was supposed to be done that was not done, what was supposed to be maintained and not been maintained. These are the kind of details that I know can be quite time-consuming to get to the bottom of them, but I really believe this consulting group will give us a very clear picture of a fundamental breakdown of maintenance and a fundamental failure of planning, and certainly from there, hopefully, we can create a path to restoring reliability, because right now, certainly the system is clearly broken.
Danny, when Mr. Martin's report, refers to experts' review of their processes in-house, and he says that they're operating at industry standards and in some instances best practices, is that you don't agree with those, or do you think that there's another stone to be unturned that maybe the Liberty Group and others at the PUB review will be able to uncover?
Well, one of the external reviews that they did relates to the reliability and performance of Holyrood, and I don't think Mr. Martin acknowledged that external review said that up until 2013, Holyrood was performing to industry standards across Canada, but since 2013 has been a terribly underperformer, and I don't believe there's any coincidence that 1 million barrels of dirty fuel was put in there on January the 4th, starting January the 4th, 2013, which resulted in, as we know for sure, it resulted in over $1 million that the ratepayers and taxpayers had to assume so we could change filters, we could replace pipes. We had 2 oil spills there in April and September of last year caused by the dirty fuel, eroding the tubes that were bringing the fuel from the tank farm into the generating station. So, this is the kind of thing that is not a matter of external opinion. This is a matter of concrete facts that this type of fuel destroyed the integrity of that system to the point where the generators were not able to put out the power because
and that will be determined.
There's no juice.
Well, that's right, and that'll be determined by this review at the PUB. There's no question about it. Just one last comment before I go to the break, Danny. When you talk about the preventative maintenance schedule and the money's allotted to it, you refer to $4 million and hence to $8 million. When I hear others talk about the fact that it went from $50 million to $100 million since 2003, are they not the numbers, or am I missing something?
Yeah, you're missing something. That is the province-wide.
Okay, so Holyrood is 4 to 8.
That is province-wide, and as I said to you, a certain amount of that province-wide stuff is just routine. It's continual upgrading of transmission lines, and we've had $39 million, for example, into the Labrador interconnected system over the last number of years. So yeah, there's been that amount of money, and yes, indeed, I'm not saying that the transmission lines, for example, don't need upgrading because of the age, but fundamentally, what has happened there, when it comes time for peak demand supply of power, there were at least 3 critical assets that should have been up and tested and running. They were the Ardwoods, Stephenville, and Holyrood. In all 3 cases, they failed us when we needed them, and there's absolutely no excuse for not having fuel that's been tested and been made sure it was the right fuel, and also not to have fuel available at all, that you got to scrounge around in the harbor of St. John's to get fuel from a Coast Guard vessel to keep your place running. That is fundamentally irresponsible. And these are the kinds of examples. These are not figments of imaginations. These are the facts, and that's the kind of thing that reduces the confidence in our system to the point right now where it is fundamentally broken. And I certainly look forward to drilling down into the details and having the people come to account for their actions, and also to put forward a plan. Because the plan this morning that Mr. Martin is alluding to, that we're going to put new generation at Holyrood. The new generation he's talking about at Holyrood will not be ready until at least late 2015. So don't try it again to spin, to fool the people into a sense of complacency. We still haven't changed the guidelines on the fuel. We can still be dumped dirty fuel and have no legal liability. These are the types of things that people want to see tied up and firm, and make sure that there are no opportunities for surprises. Acts of God, storms, and all of those things, yes, we certainly have to appreciate that that's never going to stop. But when it comes to the mechanics, when it comes to the parts, when it comes to the fuel, when it comes to preventative maintenance, these are things that we have hired people and paid them big money to be able to keep in a state of readiness. And as we've seen over the last 14 months, that just was not there.
I cannot wait for the PUB review to be completed, because a lot of people opposed to the work of Nalcor have put a lot of faith in the PUB. So I just cannot wait for this to come through, because I'm already... I haven't made my mind up on the level of competence or the scheduling or the monies committed to Holyrood and otherwise province-wide. But I can't wait for this to all come and play itself out, because this is the kind of stuff where perception and reality may not always meet at somewhere legitimate. So I can't wait for this to take place, Danny, and I always appreciate your input. Thanks for the call.
Yes, thank you, Patty, for allowing me the opportunity, and no question, I want to see the report, and I will certainly accept the findings of the final report of the PUB, because after seeing what I have to date, I can guarantee you that due diligence is being done, that the right experts are being brought in, and the process will be open and accessible enough to everybody so that people can see the accountability of hydro officials when they come to take the stand at the PUB and account for the actions whether it's related to the asset readiness or fuel supply or the maintenance records. All of that will go through, and I am absolutely confident that at the end of the day we will have run through a very good process, and the recommendations and the orders of the board, I do believe, will restore confidence in our electrical system.
I appreciate your time, Danny. Stay in touch.
All the best.
Same to you. Bye-bye.
Bye.